Turkish Airlines Euroleague in association with...
ALBA Berlin on the hunt for a second win back in the big time. But tonight, they face their sternest test so far. CSKA Moscow perfect against ALBA in 4 previous meetings. And perfect so far this season after 3 wins on the bounce. The Germans facing a mountain to climb. A thriller in prospect at the Mercedes-Benz Arena. Well, hello, good evening, and a very warm welcome to the magnificent Mercedes-Benz Arena. What a spectacular amphitheater this is for basketball, and one where CSKA Moscow have very happy memories indeed. It was here at this very venue in 2016 where head coach Dimitris Atoudis guided CSKA to the Euroleague title, his first as a head coach. The reigning champions with so much history, 8-time Euroleague champions. Atoudis also made his head coaching here at this debut. Let's hear what he has to say on his return.
Well, the fact that they are scoring a lot of points, the fact that they're playing in a high tempo, the fact that they have nothing to lose, they play with no fear, they play with a lot of confidence. And if we get into X and O's, we will say that they run well the floor. They try to find the opponent defense not organized, or to create things with the drive and kicks. The offensive boards, the fight, the hustle they have, a lot of things.
Well, Luke Sigma leading in the home team. ALBA Berlin coming into this 4th week of action with a 1-2 record. Won their opening game against Zenit St. Petersburg by a 20-point margin, but since that time they lost heartbreaking 1-point overtime matchup against FS before being dominated after conceding a big 4th quarter against Barcelona. So back on home court, looking to even up their record at 2-2, facing an opponent they have never prevailed against before as they face off against CSKA Moscow for the 5th time. Let's hear from Coach Aito.
Here is, for us, it's an honor to be here, and for the people of Berlin, you will see them, the people will enjoy with this. In spite, we don't know if we are able to win. Every time we have, in spite this little, a possibility to win, and we will try.
So we are at the Mercedes-Benz Arena for round 4 action in the Turkish Airlines Euroleague as the top 2 scoring teams in the competition, ALBA Berlin and CSKA Moscow, go head-to-head. And this is how this fixture fits into one of 4 fixtures taking place on this Friday night after 5 fixtures took place on the opening day of round 4 competition. Anadolu Efes Istanbul with a commanding victory over Real Madrid, shackling them to just 10 points in the 4th quarter. CSKA Moscow looking to keep pace with FC Barcelona, who prevailed in round 4 action yesterday. They the only 2 perfect teams in the competition to this point. ALBA Berlin looking to even up their mark at 2 wins and 2 defeats. But in order to do that, they will have to prevail over CSKA Moscow for the first time in this, the 5th meeting against the 8-time champions. So CSKA Moscow arriving in the German capital, still not at full strength. Ivan Ukov hasn't traveled. Still awaiting the debut of Costa Kufas, who is injured. But for those who are here, Kyle Hines, well, what more is there to say about the third leading shot blocker all time, a 4-time Euroleague champion, Daniel Hackett. Such a tenacious defender on the perimeter, averaging 7 points a game so far this campaign, as well as dishing out 2.7 assists. And Mike James, the reigning Alfonso Ford Trophy winner, as the leading scorer in the league last campaign. And he has made a hot start to life in the Russian capital. In that Leningrad derby, he went off for 28 points on pretty efficient shooting from both 2 and 3-point territory. The league's leading scorer from last campaign, starting the fourth round of action at number 6 in the scoring charts with 18.3 points per night. Well, Landrinoko is one of the best shot blockers in the league, rejecting 1.3 shots per night is the Cameroonian international. Tyler Kavanagh, in his first season in Euroleague play, putting 12 points per game on the board. And Peyton Siva, also in his first season in the Euroleague, after overcoming a pre-season injury, he's making a terrific adjustment to life in the Euroleague. 5 assists per night as we take a look at his statistics against Barcelona. Perfect from downtown in his 12-point total. 2 of 7 from downtown in his 12-point total. And then what a matchup we have on the wings as Rokas Giedraitis and Will Clyburn go head-to-head in the forward position. Their numbers: 21 points Will Clyburn put on the board in that round 3 victory over Khimki Moscow region. Rokas Giedraitis, his team's leading scorer, pouring in 15.7 points per game, netting 17 last time out. Both of them can fill it up both in transition, on the inside, and from the perimeter as well. That one of many marquee matchups that we have in store in this round 4 fixture between ALBA Berlin and CSKA Moscow. So the roster then for the visiting team: Mikhail Kalagin still injured, Costa Kufa still awaiting his debut, Ivan Ukov hasn't traveled, Nikita Kabanov questionable for this game as well. For ALBA Berlin, Martin Hermansen is an injury doubt. Remember, Marcus Eriksson has missed the last 2 games, so we'll have to see if he does play a part, how prominent his role will be. Sole action coming in round 1 so far against Zenit St. Petersburg in the early stages of this new season. So CSKA Moscow being introduced to the crowd here, led out by Joel Bolomboy. And now the atmosphere intensifies as we prepare for the introduction of ALBA Berlin here at the Mercedes-Benz Arena. Plenty of energy and evidence during the course of those introductions for the home team, and now two masterful, legendary head coaches exchanging handshakes and high fives at half court. This coach Aito Reneses, Garcia Reneses faces off against Dimitris Atoudis on the sidelines. There's confirmation that they are the top two offenses in the Euroleague, the only teams coming into this fourth round averaging more than 90 points per game. Alba Berlin, the #1 team in assists, dishing out 24 helpers per game. CSKA Moscow, the #1 shooting team from downtown. But on the flip side of that occasion, Alba Berlin ranked number 18 out of 18 teams in terms of points conceded, because they're giving up an identical number of points each time out, 91.3 points per game. CSKA Moscow, the 5th best defense in the competition, are conceding a comparatively minuscule 75 points per game. So once again, the fans here at the Mercedes-Benz Arena creating the most magnificent atmosphere in support of their team. As we take a look at the starting five for tonight's visitors, it's a two-guard set with Mike James and Darren Hilliard in the backcourt. Johannes Buchmann, Nikita Kabanov back in action for CSKA Moscow, anchored by Kyle Hines in the middle. For the home team, it's Peyton Siva, Niels Gaffay, Rokas Giedraitis, Luke Sigma, and Landry Noko who take the floor. So Niels Gaffay capable of playing the off guard, but that is a pretty big lineup that Alba Berlin have taken to start this game. And as we talked about the relative comparative team statistics, well, there can be little doubt that if Alba Berlin, as we take a look at the officials in charge of this game, Sreten Radovic, the crew chief, but if Alba Berlin hope to secure a victory and inflict CSKA Moscow's first defeat of this new season, well, undoubtedly they're going to have to remain true to their philosophy and put points on the board in abundance. The question is, can they stop the perennial offensive juggernaut that is CSKA Moscow from doing the same? CSKA Moscow will look to take this crowd out of the game just as quickly as possible. But guided by the lightning-quick Peyton Siva, Alba Berlin will look to get up and down the floor in a hurry. We'll now pause for the Turkish Airlines Euroleague anthem. So plenty of adrenaline and anticipation in the air as Alba Berlin prepare to face off against CSKA Moscow in round 4 action in the Turkish Airlines Euroleague. So the opening tip is up, and it is Landry Noko who guides the basketball to give Alba Berlin the first possession. Sigma into the low post. Gaffay working against Hilliard. Lots of footwork down low. Ball in and out. Landry Noko fighting for the offensive board. Nikita Kabanov comes down with it. So it's Mike James looking to conduct the half-court offense in an absolute cacophony here at the Mercedes-Benz Arena. Rapid ball movement around the perimeter. Zone being played by Alba Berlin. Spinning in the lane is Darren Hilliard. He can't find the range. Alba Berlin with the board. So Peyton Siva pushing quickly, sees the seam, drives, but the foul committed before the act of shooting. So it will be sideline possession for Alba Berlin. Foul committed by Darren Hilliard, trying to stay in front of Peyton Siva, which is no easy task. So Geertruitis looking to inbound. Siva has it once again. Upstairs it goes to Luke Sigma. The perfectly placed pass from the wing, high above the rim. And Luke Sigma soars to give Alba Berlin an early lead, putting their first points on the board. But it's countered immediately by a three from Mike James, connecting at 39% from downtown this campaign. And he extends his streak of at least one three-pointer. That is now 9 of his last 10 games where he's connected from downtown. Landry Noko muscling against Kyle Hines in the block and draws the foul against the veteran center in his 10th EuroLeague season. Beautifully placed lob. Luke Sigma timing his backdoor cut to perfection, beating Johannes Vukman down the lane. So Landry Noko to the free throw line. Perfect from the stripe so far this campaign, 8 out of 8 coming into this game. First miss of the new campaign, but an offensive rebound by Luke Sigma, who is on cleanup duty. And he has both Alba Berlin field goals. They lead by 2. So Kyle Hines, driving from the perimeter, sees a seam between Luke Sigma and Landry Noko, bulldozed his way through it, trying to make it wider, and drawing the foul on Luke Sigma. That is his first. Now, CSKA Moscow having their difficulties from the free throw line. They actually are 18th out of 18 in terms of free throw shooting accuracy, just 62% as a team coming in. Kyle Hines, part of that problem because he's only 1 of 5 from the stripe coming into this game. He goes 1 of 2 on that trip to the floor to make it a 1-point game. Just over a minute and a half gone here at the Mercedes-Benz Arena. Luke Sigma offloads to Peyton Siva. He's working on Mike James. Kyle Hines helping out before dropping back down low to box out Landry Noko. Offensive rebound secured by Niels Giffey. And listen to the ovation that effort and tangible play receives. All the way beneath the bucket is Peyton Siva. He gives it to Sigma, goes to the spin move, left-handed hook. Landry Noko working the offensive glass like a yeoman. Still staying with it. Nikita Kabanov comes down with the defensive board. So Alba Berlin really active in the open stages. In the opening stages of this game, down to the corner, Vukman fakes the three, drives into the lane. Sigma making life difficult, somehow manages to drop a bounce pass to Kabanov. Out to the corner, and Darren Hilliard connects from downtown. Hilliard shooting at 34% for his career from long range. 10 of 22 coming into this game from three-point territory. So Siva into the lane, stops on a dime, gives it back to Sigma. Mike James recovers. Luke Sigma off left. So CSKA Moscow looking to extend this, their second lead of the game. Oh, Mike James with the fancy dribble, can't find the finish. Landry Noko with the board. Taken off the rim by Johannes Vukman. Very alert play. Peyton Siva fires the spot-up 3 and finds the range to put his team up by 1. First points of the game for Peyton Siva. 3 of 15 for a 20% accuracy rate coming into this game from three-point territory on this season. Hilliard, defended by Giffey. Hilliard trying to go to the crossover, catching the foot of Giffey, so it will be a sideline possession with 14 seconds on the shot clock. The feed from beneath the bucket from Rokas Geertruitis, hooking up Peyton Siva. So Mike James gives it to Hilliard, who is mugged by Luke Sigma, and that sparks a transition opportunity. Peyton Siva now into the secondary break. Pulls the trigger on the 3, rattles around the rim. Mike James brings it out for CSKA Moscow. Bounce pass, trying to find Kyle Hines. He does well to hang on. That's a very heady play from Kyle Hines. Realized that he was going to be forced out of bounds with his momentum. So he leapt off one leg and bounced it off Rokas Giedraitis to retain possession for his team. So end-line possession for CSKA Moscow. They are trailing by 1. Last touch by Darren Hilliard. Coach of Tudis not particularly impressed with that attempt at an inbound play. Turnover is the result. CSKA Moscow committing their second turnover of the game. So it's Peyton Siva defended by Mike James. Niels Giffey coming available on this near side. Rokas Giedraitis front rim on the shot. Landry Noko crashing the offensive boards hard once again. But called for a foul in the process of doing so. That's his first. He and Luke Sikma with 1 foul apiece. Stefan Payno not suited up for this game in a hoodie over on the sidelines. Kyle Hines on the wing, looking for Kabanov in the block. Bullet pass finds its way to Hilliard, looking for his second 3, and he finds the bottom of the bucket once more. Darren Hilliard, 6 points in the game on 2 of 2 shooting from downtown, gives CSKA Moscow their largest, a 2-point lead, approaching the midpoint of the first quarter. Giedraitis for 3, Kabanov was flying at him. Rim shot once again. Vukman with the board and now igniting the transition opportunity. Mike James picked up by Siva. Siva defending him aggressively. James looking to back into the low block. Oh, the turn and then the step through shook off Peyton Siva. Ball still live in CSKA hands. Kabanov looks at the long 2. Hilliard looks at the 3. Extra pass to Mike James and he drains it. Wonderfully patient offense, built upon fantastic ball rotation by CSKA Moscow. Back-to-back 3-pointers give them a 5-point lead. Mike James, 2 of 2 from downtown in his 6-point total. Landry Noko with a nice catch on the inside, pump faking furiously, gets the shot away. Couldn't get it to go, but he will go to the free throw line. And if that foul is on Kyle Hines, then that is his second. And we are only just beyond the midpoint of the first quarter. There's the extra pass which found Mike James in acres of space to connect on his second 3-pointer. Timeout on the floor. CSKA Moscow with a 5-point lead over ALBA Berlin. 8-13 the score. Well, this was the opening score of the game. Peyton Siva connecting with Luke Sikma. A whole range of emotions over on the respective sidelines. Saw Coach Atudis looking rather frustrated at his team's inability to execute an inbound play when that was deflected out of bounds by Darren Hilliard. There expressing his displeasure at the alley-oop. ALBA Berlin converted to open the scoring in this game. So that free throw from Landry Noko breaks the 6-0 run that CSKA Moscow put together to open up a 5-point lead. Landry Noko 1 of 2 from the stripe once again. So lead reduced to 4. Joe Balomboy into the game. Mike James, skip pass to Voetman, who fakes the three, and he's lost the handle. So another turnover committed by CSKA Moscow, their third of the game. ALBA Berlin have yet to give the ball away once, handling the basketball very well, which one suspects is going to be a crucial stat in this game. So Siva picked up by James. Landry-Noko looking to post up Joel Balomboy. Giedraitis out on the wing. Into Landry-Noko. Into the middle, goes to a jump hook. Lots of contact down low, no foul. Landry-Noko unable to find the finish. Taken away once again, another turnover. Niels Giffey comes up with a steal. He sends ALBA Berlin off to the races. They will look to run at every opportunity. Landry-Noko looking to post up Mike James. Mike James fighting valiantly to front the towering Landry-Noko. What a disparity in size we have there. Landry-Noko 2.08 meters tall. Mike James a comparatively diminutive 1.85 meters tall. But he's got spring heels, has Mike James, and he used them to good effect to pounce off the hardwood and deflect that ball out of bounds. Landry-Noko and Luke Sikma taking a seat on the bench. Luke Sikma with 4 points in the game. Rejected by Kabanov. So good help defense ultimately, because the sneaky backdoor from the inbounder looked as though it was going to result in a finish, but Tyler Cavanaugh had his shot swatted away. Giffey working in the low post, manages to somehow free himself after being surrounded by red jerseys, and he brings his team back to within 2. 4 points without reply. 3 points without reply put on the board by ALBA Berlin. So Mike James gives it to Hilliard, who fires for three. That missed by some distance and almost cracked the backboard. Peyton Siva igniting a fast break once again. Giedraitis off left. Rokas Giedraitis yet to find the range from downtown. He's 0 of 3 from three-point territory. And on the season so far, he's shooting 7 of 15 from three-point land. Just under 50%. So blocking foul is the call. Darren Hilliard went baseline. Tyler Cavanaugh called for the foul. That's his first, having just checked into the game. Well, CSKA were hoping to take this crowd out of the game early by putting some clear daylight between themselves and ALBA Berlin. They haven't managed to do so thus far in the first. ALBA Berlin playing with terrific energy. It's a one-possession game. Giffey defending Hilliard. Hilliard takes him to the bucket, gets the shot away, can't find the range. Joel Balomboy can't reel in the offensive board. Well, hands being clapped and thundersticks being pounded to make the most percussive of rhythms here at the Mercedes-Benz Arena. And making life very difficult in terms of communication for CSKA Moscow. Ron Baker checking into the game for the first time. Rokas Giedraitis, Peyton Siva taking a seat on the bench. Kenneth Ogba checking in. So to Jonas Matisek, and he's had his pocket pick. Mike James takes it and jams it. What a defensive play by Mike James. All over the 19-year-old Jonas Matisek, picked his pocket and finished with a flush. Aggressive defense being played by the league's leading scorer from last season. CSKA Moscow lead by 4. Mike James with 8 points in the game. Turnaround Jay from the mid-post, back iron on the shot. Good defense by Joel Balomboy. So Mike James crossing up Matisek. It goes to Balomboy. He's backing down Cavanaugh into the lane. Step through move, pump fake, and a right-handed finish on the power layup from Joel Balomboy. His opening points of the game off the feed from the perimeter. CSKA Moscow lead by 6. It's their largest lead of the game. So Giffey gives it back to Matisek. The shot not being defended. Mike James guarding the three-point line. Giffey from the elbow over Joel Balomboy. Rebound Ron Baker. And with this second string in for ALBA Berlin, this is perhaps where CSKA Moscow will look to put that clear daylight between themselves and their opponents. But another turnover committed. Joe Bolomboy catching the ball in the short corner. Watch him square up here and then goes right. And a traveling violation is called. Much to the chagrin of Coach Atudis. So just over a minute to play in the first quarter. CSKA Moscow leading by 6. Mike James cutting off the avenue to the bucket that Matisek tried to fashion. Ogba wheeling his way down the lane, gets all the way to the glass against Ron Baker for his opening points of the game. He makes it a 2-possession affair here with less than a minute to play in the first. And this is a real baptism of fire for Jonas Matisek in his first season in the Euroleague, as we take a look at the nice spin move and finish from Kenneth Ogba. So Mike James just pressing the nitro button to take it to Matisek. Clyburn, defended by Giffey, backing him down to the post. Matisek showing the double team. He then gets back out to the perimeter. That leaves Mike James all alone. He fakes the 3, shakes off Matisek. Back to Clyburn. Shot clock approaching the red. Poked away from behind by Niels Giffey. And it's a fast break opportunity for ALBA Berlin. Swarming defense being played by CSKA Moscow to slow down ALBA Berlin's progress. Kavanaugh on the perimeter. Inside it goes to Giffey, working against Clyburn. Lots of bumping and banging down in the low post. Terrific low post play from Niels Giffey. He picked Will Clyburn's pocket at the other end and then came back with that terrific low post move, finishing with a right hand off the glass. It's a 1-possession game in the closing stages. Mike James with the sidestep, pulls the trigger, front rim on the shot. And it is a back and forth affair here in the German capital, Berlin. Just one bucket separates ALBA Berlin and CSKA Moscow after 10 minutes of play. With the first quarter in the book, it is ALBA Berlin 15, CSKA Moscow 17. So some of the highlights then from the first quarter here at the Mercedes-Benz Arena. A quarter where it was ALBA Berlin who stepped onto the court, receiving terrific support from these passionate fans here in the German capital. This, the opening score of the game. An above the rim alley-oop converted by Luke Sikma off the feed from Peyton Seaver, much to the annoyance of Coach Atudis. Peyton Seaver with 3 points in the game after connecting on that 3 off the feed beneath the bucket from Rokas Giedraitis. Landry Noko has crashed the boards hard, 4 rebounds in the game. That was a terrific rejection from Nikita Kabanov. After Tyler Kavanaugh tried to sneak to the bucket after making the inbound pass, and then the 3 from the corner. CSKA Moscow, the #1 3-point shooting team in the league, using the 3 ball to terrific effect, making more than 2/3 of their 3-point attempts on 7 attempts. ALBA Berlin will look to improve their 3-point shooting territory, their 3-point shooting accuracy, and indeed both teams with modest success from 2-point range. But defense has been intense from both squads. CSKA Moscow committing 6 turnovers in the first quarter alone. ALBA Berlin creating 3 steals. So ALBA Berlin have trailed by as many as 6 at 11-17, but have fought their way back to trail by just 2 in this 1-possession affair here as we prepare to get the second quarter underway. So full court pressure being applied by ALBA Berlin. Ron Baker working against Kenneth Ogba. And almost another steal created. It's another turnover that's been given up by CSKA Moscow. Coach Atudis calling a substitution immediately. Daniel Hackett checking into the game. Is it Ron Baker that's going to get the hook? I think, no, it's Mike James who's taking a seat on the bench. But dribbling into what is effectively coffin corner, where the defender acts as, the sideline acts as an extra defender. So a turnover to begin the second quarter, taking CSKA Moscow's total to 7. Matisek pulling up from just beneath the free throw line and dropping the two-pointer for his first points of the game to tie things up at 17. Baker playing with that cast on his right hand. That's a really difficult pass for Joe Bolomboy to reel in. Now he's been fouled in the act of trying to receive that one. But Ron Baker asking an awful lot of Joe Bolomboy to receive that difficult pass in such heavy traffic. Very good effort by Joe Bolomboy. And it's another steal. Rokas Giedraitis off to the races. Keeping it himself, gets to the glass, fouled in the act of shooting, and will go to the free throw line. Well, what on earth had befallen CSKA Moscow here? 6 turnovers in the first quarter, and in less than a minute in quarter number 2, they've committed another 2 turnovers. ALBA Berlin with incredibly intense and aggressive defense, giving CSKA Moscow all manner of problems. So Rokas Giedraitis still scoreless, having missed his first free throw. But he does go 1 of 2 to give ALBA Berlin a 1-point lead. Full court press being applied once again by ALBA Berlin. And the second string on the floor. But what a defensive effort they are putting forth to make life difficult for the reigning champions. Vorontsevich, the man in the mask. Pulling up from the perimeter is Hackett. Rebound secured by Kenneth Ogba. Aggressively into the lane. Ball still live. Vorontsevich wrapped it up for CSKA. ALBA Berlin back in numbers. Hackett gives it to Vorontsevich, who pulls the trigger on the 3. Back iron on the shot. What an offensive board by Will Clyburn. CSKA Moscow's leading rebounder, hauling in 6 per game. So Vorontsevich doing a terrific job of giving up position to get possession. Sandwiched in between ALBA Berlin defenders. He draws that foul against Jonas Matisek, his second. But Matisek has done a terrific job off the bench for coach Aito Garcia Reneses. Peyton Siva checking back into the game as Matisek takes a seat on the bench. But again, quality minutes produced off the bench by the 19-year-old. And it's another takeaway. This time it's Peyton Siva, 3-on-1 opportunity. Giedraitis looking to dunk on Joe Bolomboy, but Joe Bolomboy perhaps got a piece of it to take away the dunk attempt. CSKA Moscow in transition. Bolomboy beneath the bucket. Beautiful footwork, count the basket. What a sequence, and Joe Bolomboy heavily involved because Rokas Giedraitis went to throw it down in transition. The catch in the low post, the pump fake, getting the defender off the ground, and then the finish. But that was where Rokas Giedraitis challenged Joe Bolomboy in an aerial duel above the rim, and Joe Bolomboy got a piece of it before coming down the other end to score in the low post. So Joe Bolomboy unable to complete the 3-point play. First miss on this new season for Joe Bolomboy. He was 2 of 2 from the stripe coming into this game. Behind the back pass, finds Kavanaugh. He sees a lane, drives aggressively, goes to the left hand. Another block by Joe Bolomboy, taking that one away from Kavanaugh. Hackett working the dribble. Bolomboy comes to set the screen. Now he's in the mid-post. Hackett looks him off and comes back to the center. He's got the mobility edge over Kavanaugh here. Sees the lane, drives aggressively, gets it away with the right hand. Fouled in the act of shooting and will go to the free throw line. So good recognition by Daniel Hackett, knowing that he is the quicker man, even with the ball in his hands. Kavanaugh moving his feet manfully to try and stay in front of Hackett, but couldn't do so without committing the foul. He'll take a seat on the bench now. Tyler Kavanaugh, having picked up his 3rd foul in just 4 minutes on court. To the free throw line goes Daniel Hackett for the first time this season. He's a 76% foul shooter on his career. So the poorest shooting free throw team in the competition. CSKA Moscow, 62% as a team this campaign, currently at 50% from the line. And now that is improved because they are 3 of 5 as a team after that perfect trip to the free throw line by Daniel Hackett. His first points of the game gives his team a 3-point lead. So Clyburn defending Giedraitis. Landry Noko fakes left, goes right, jump hook is good. Terrific play down in the low post from Landry Noko. 4 points in the game, he brings his team back to within 1. Clyburn defended by Giedraitis out towards the halfway line. Bolomboy comes to set a screen, kick to the corner. Ron Baker pump faking furiously. That is another turnover. Turnover number 10 committed by CSKA Moscow. Peyton Siva down beneath the free throw line, gives it back to Schneider. Little two-man exchange between he and Siva. Big screen set by Landry Noko. He receives it on the roll to the bucket, gets it back out to Siva, working the dribble, goes to the crossover, almost loses it himself, and then deposits Daniel Hackett on the hardwood. Hackett reaching on the recovery, commits the foul. So Hackett called for his first. Approaching 3.5 minutes gone in the second quarter. It's a 1-point game. Back into action for the first time since round 1 is Marcus Eriksson. Giedraitis with an open baseline. Will Clyburn pokes it up in the air, comes away with the steal. Got his legs in a tangle with Landry Noko, which slowed down the fast break somewhat. But it's Clyburn playing point forward. Giedraitis getting down low, playing him straight up. Clyburn, so adept at getting into the lane. Oh my goodness, that is a soft turnover. Credit Alba Berlin for their aggressive defense once again. But 11 turnovers committed by Alba Berlin, just demonstrating how aggressive Alba Berlin are playing here on home court. Andrei Vorontsevich called for his second foul. But 6 fouls committed in the first quarter by CSKA Moscow, and they've already given up possession 5 times here in the second. 3-pointer is drained from downtown. Tim Schneider on the money, shooting 33% in his first Euroleague season from three-point land. And that gives Alba Berlin a 2-point lead with the first points of the game for Tim Schneider. 23-21 in favor of Alba Berlin. Timeout on the floor.
You look like they are bitches. We look like we are their bitches. They fucking pressure us and we turn over the ball. Whoever I put, Daru start the game, turn over. Will turn over. Danny turn over. Ron Baker turn over. We look like we never play basketball because they are aggressive on us. Okay, take advantage. I have to jump and say forget 43. 2 years now we need forget this 99 fucking drive like you did before.
Well, here's Tim Schneider giving his team a 2-point lead, burying his first 3-point attempt of the night. Apologies for the strong language during the course of that timeout, but you understand the emotion and the force with which Coach Atudis wants to get his message across. And during that message, well, I think that will perhaps jar the competitive pride and spirit of these professional athletes. And remember, at their essence, at their core, they are competitors. And if your coach brings you to the sideline, forget the money, forget the glory, and he calls you soft, that you're not responding to the aggressive challenge being laid down, well, that could well push a button and spark a response from the reigning champions. Coach Atudis questioning their intensity, questioning their toughness. Let's see how CSKA Moscow respond, because this is what invoked the ire of Coach Atudis, the turnover count. 11 turnovers, and we're not even at the midpoint of the second quarter. Terrific offensive rebound by Joe Bolomboy. Will Clyburn playing point forward, spins his way to the lane. Joe Bolomboy for 3, back iron on the shot. Another offensive rebound for CSKA, this time from Clyburn, and getting into the lane, Andrei Vorontsevich. gets the offensive rebound and the stick back to fall. His first points of the game, and he ties things up at 23. So Giedraitis driving, spinning on Hackett, and he gets it to go. Rokas Giedraitis wheeling and dealing his way down the lane. First field goal of the game for Giedraitis. He gives his team a 2-point lead, 3 points in the game for him. Hackett drives to the middle. Mike James fakes the three. Driving hard and finishing with authority is Will Clyburn. He ties things up at 25 points apiece. First points of the game for Clyburn. He was one of the men singled out for committing turnovers by Coach Atudis during that timeout, and there is the type of the response that the coach wants to see. Taken away by Daniel Hackett. He gets his legs taken from beneath him by Peyton Seaver unintentionally, and Hackett looks to be in some trouble on the hardwood. Let's hope that he's okay. He rose up high to pick off that pass, and then Peyton Seaver, looking to defend it, just got beneath him. So the CSKA medical staff called into action. So there's Daniel Hackett going up high and coming down hard after Peyton Seaver got in his cylinder of verticality. No malice intended from Seaver, but that's an awkward-looking landing experienced by Daniel Hackett. Let's hope that he's okay and able to continue. Oh, good to see him walking under his own steam. He's going to receive further attention on the bench, one suspects. Darren Hilliard checking back into the game. So Alba Berlin now in the penalty. A trip to the free throw line for Hilliard. Daniel Hackett. Let's hope that he can make or take full participation in this game after that heavy fall. 1 of 2 from the line for Darren Hilliard. Another offensive rebound secured by Joe Balomboy. So, over 4 minutes to go in this second quarter. Alba Berlin in the penalty. That's the flip side of playing aggressive defense. Joel Balomboy, 0 of 2 from the stripe so far in this game. 64% foul shooter for his career. Here's Balomboy, and this is his second season in the Euroleague. He gets the first foul shot in 3 attempts to go tonight. 5 points in the game for Joel Balomboy. CSKA Moscow lead by 2. So Seaver gives it to Eriksson, gets the floater away, wrapped up by Joel Balomboy, who continues to do a terrific job on the glass. Clyburn bounces it off the foot of Peyton Seaver. He's in trouble on the hardwood. Play continues. Johannes Voetman up strong and gets the shooter's roll, but Will Clyburn is in some distress down by the baseline. Oh, this is a worrying sight for CSKA Moscow. When you see players covering their eyes like that, then generally it's a pretty significant looking injury. See him clutch that right knee immediately. Came together with the leg of Peyton Seaver. Will Clyburn appears to be in considerable discomfort down there on the hardwood. Actually, here is anguished cries of pain. gives a suggestion that this is a pretty significant injury that has been sustained by the Final Four MVP. Well, not a sight that any fan likes to see. A player giving it all for his team and then inconvenienced by injury. Let's hope that he's okay. But this doesn't look good. Will Clyburn receiving a generous ovation from these knowledgeable basketball fans here in the German capital, but that is a worrying sight indeed for fans of the Euroleague and CSKA Moscow fans in particular. Clyburn being assisted off court by the CSKA Moscow medical staff. We'll keep you updated as to his status if we receive any reports from the CSKA Moscow personnel. So play resumes. Just over 3.5 minutes to go in the first half. Marcus Ericsson for three. Side iron on the shot. Rebound secured by Johannes Vukman. CSKA Moscow leading by 4. They've led by as many as 6 in the first quarter. Beautiful pass to find the gaps in the defense. Bolomboy drives, goes between the legs, kicks it to the perimeter. Vukman fakes the three. Mike James does the same. Around the logo, deep into the shot clock. Pulls the trigger. What a rebound. And then Nikita Kabanov and Rokas Giedraitis wrestling for the rock furiously, which will result in a jump ball at the free throw line. Kabanov getting up high and in a hurry. Rokas Giedraitis looking to wrap up possession for his team as well. So the jump ball ultimately controlled by the home team. Sigma playing point forward, gives it to Ericsson. He's used his dribble back to Sigma for three, and he drains it. Luke Sigma brings his team back to within 1. He moves to 7 points in the game after connecting on his first three-point attempt. Coach Atudis calling timeout. Looking to the basketball heavens here in the German capital.
Or they don't hear you, or you don't give information. I can't find another way. Why we go both on the ball and he pops and he's alone? Why? Hey, talk early. Everybody talk early. Don't call switch. Call X. X is different to call switch. They prepare the most. X. X. We go to play for Johannes. Actually, we go to chess now. So, Mike, prepare. So I wanted to be on the top. Stand up, cut, and watch maybe. If Nikita's player goes, maybe you have this back door.
So the double team on the basketball momentarily left Luke Sigma open, and after that rotated pass from Marcus Ericsson, by the time Darren Hilliard recovered, it was enough daylight for Luke Sigma to launch and land from long range. So it's Mike James handling against Peyton Siva. Joel Bolomboy. Marcus Ericsson pursuing Darren Hilliard all the way down the lane, but Darren Hilliard still gets the field goal to go. 9 points in the game now for Hilliard. Puts his team up by 3. One possession game here. So Peyton Siva inbounds to Landry Noko, and that is an easy as easy an inbound play as you will ever see in the Euroleague. Landry Noko receiving the basketball in prime position. 1 power dribble and 2 the hoop to make it a 1-point game. Joe Balomboy showing his presence and proficiency from downtown. 8 of 16 for his career from long range coming into this game. And he's continuing to knock them down consistently. That's his first of the game. 3 made 3-pointers on the season so far for Joel Balomboy. Nice composure on the inside, demonstrated by Niels Giffey. He's the only man on the roster for Alba Berlin who played in the previous encounter between these two sides in the Euroleague. And now the threes beginning to fall with regularity. Darren Hilliard, the first man to double figures in points in this game. 3 of 4 from downtown. Ball still loose. Johannes Voetman with the rebound. So Peyton Seaver picking up Mike James at the top of the key. Luke Sigma helps out, but that leaves a gaping seam. Oh my goodness, it's another careless turnover. A wide open fast break transition jam as a result of easy pickings once again for Alba Berlin. CSKA Moscow with 12 turnovers in the game so far. Mike James jumping to pass. Luke Sigma saying thank you very much and hooking up Peyton Seaver in transition, who finishes with the jam. So we're inside the final minute of the first half. Hilliard pushing off Kenneth Ogba to get himself some room. Mike James working the dribble, gives it to Hilliard, who drives aggressively into the lane, can't get it to go. Big offensive rebound by Nikita Kabanov. So it's a new 14. As Mike James splits the gap, gets all the way to the goal and gets it to go on the double pump. Mike James with 10 points in the game, the second double-digit scorer for CSKA Moscow. 2 of 4 from both 2- and 3-point territory. Seaver driving on James. James defending effectively, manages to get it back out. Down it goes into the block to Landry Noko. He spins baseline. Strong low post play by Landry Noko, bumping and banging down in the block against Semen Antonov. Antonov standing strong, but Landry Noko keen to initiate the contact. Gets the shot away. He'll go to the free throw line once again, Landry Noko. So now 3 of 5 from the stripe. Alba Berlin, the #1 free throw shooting team in the competition coming in. They were connecting at 88.7% from the stripe, but 0 of 2 on that trip to the free throw line by Landry Noko sees them at a modest 3 of 8, less than 50% from the free throw line so far. Mike James dribbling, gets an awkward looking shot away to beat the halftime buzzer. Couldn't get it to go. So 0.5 seconds on the clock. It's an end line possession. So will Peyton Seaver go for the long range heave? No, he's gone for Luke Sigma, who fires from his own half, but doesn't come close to finding the range on that Hail Mary attempt. So at the end of 2 quarters of play here at the Mercedes-Benz Arena, CSKA Moscow leading Alba Berlin by 5. It's a fast and furious encounter so far. Alba Berlin 34, CSKA Moscow 39. Well, CSKA Moscow with 2 double-digit scorers during the course of that first half. One of them is Darren Hilliard, who leads all scorers with 12 points.
Okay, Darren, what did you need to do better in the second half to pull away from Berlin?
Play hard. Gotta play hard. They play outplaying us and beating us to the ball, getting more rebounds. We just gotta come out and play harder.
Thank you. Thank you.
So Darren Hilliard looking for an increase in energy and intensity as he wants his team to play hard. Let's hear from Niels Giffey.
Okay, so what are you doing well in the first half to keep frustrating CSKA?
I think we got a couple good steals that just led to a transition for us. We got a couple open shots. We kept the game fast. I think that helped us a lot.
Thank you.
So ALBA Berlin able to play their type of basketball through the first 20 minutes of play, forcing CSKA Moscow into 12 turnovers while they committed only 2. They're the leading scorers through the first 20 minutes of play. Hilliard and Mike James into double digits for CSKA.
Turkish Airlines. 7 days. Adidas. Spalding. And Enios. Official global sponsors in association with the Turkish Airlines Euroleague.
So some of the highlights from that first half. What a first half it proved to be. Cheered on by energetic support from the fans here at the Mercedes-Benz Arena. It was ALBA Berlin who took the early lead back and forth during the course of the first quarter. CSKA led by as many as 6, but ended the first quarter up by 2, 15-17. CSKA Moscow forced into 6 first quarter turnovers. That jam from Will Clyburn was after Coach Atudis chewed the team out on the sideline, questioning their toughness, saying, what, you can't deal with a bit of aggressive defense? Take advantage of it. Right now you're playing soft. Clyburn left the game injured at the 3:45 mark. 3:45 to go in the second quarter. Let's hope that he can return. ALBA Berlin fighting their way back to trail by 5 at the end of the first half. CSKA Moscow shooting solidly from three-point territory. You'd expect nothing less from the league's leaders in that regard. CSKA dominating the boards, but look at the turnover count. ALBA Berlin's aggressive D resulting in 8 steals, forcing CSKA into 12 turnovers. Well, time now for a look at the action last night and an historic encounter in St. Petersburg as Zenit met Panathinaikos OPAP Athens for the very first time. Deshaun Thomas enjoying his night, netting 17 points for the Greek side. Andrew BC hit back-to-back three-pointers in the second to level the contest as he registered 15 points on the night. But this would prove to be Jimmer Fredette's game, the new arrival from America, on fire for Panathinaikos. An almost telepathic partnership with Nick Calathes bearing fruit as the guard dished out an amazing 15 assists. Fredette finished the night as Panathinaikos' top scorer, the Greens with back-to-back wins and looking threat in the early stages of the new campaign. Anadolu Efes Istanbul went in search of their first win against Real Madrid since April 2015. Bryant Dunstan powering his team early on, picking the pocket off the inbound, rumbling down court and finishing with the fast break jam. Sergio Yui was one of Real Madrid's bright sparks as Los Blancos went on a 1-10 run to narrow the gap. Krinoslav Simone was absolutely immense in the third quarter, inspiring his team to 17 points, including this jam off the backdoor cut and the feed from Bryant Dunstan. And it was the Bryant Dunstan show for FS, ending their losing streak against the Spanish Giants and have now won 3 in a row so far this campaign. The only Euroleague team yet to register a win, Valencia Basket, were on the back foot early against Maccabi Fox Tel Aviv. Othello Hunter making another big impression for his new club. Scotty Wilbekin led the Israelis in scoring with 14 points on 4 of 9 three-point shooting. This one from downtown extending the gap to 5. After a tough first half for the traveling Spaniards, Aaron Dornicamp connected on this three-pointer to end the third, 56-44 down. Jordan Lloyd had his best game since joining Valencia, 17 points in just 22 minutes on court, taking charge with 11 fourth quarter points as Valencia mounted a furious rally, but Maccabi were too strong. Tariq Black with another powerful performance. The Israelis going 2-2 Valencia's search for a first win continues. Khimki Moscow region were on the hunt for their first victory over Bayern Munich since 2015. Alexei Shved opened the game strong, dishing out 4 assists in the opening 5 minutes, providing Yanis Timmer with this fast break opportunity that he finished with a reverse. The game was incredibly tight throughout the first half. Vladimir Lucic giving his side a slender lead with this baseline jam all over Anthony Gill. Yanis Timmer countering the baseline jam with 3 points from downtown, giving Khimki the lead at the halftime interval. After the break, the Russian side went on a monumental 0-20 run, capped off with this 3-pointer from Devin Booker against his former teammates. Bayern now with a proverbial mountain to climb, and it was Jonas Jerebko who helped close the game out for the Russians. Khimki now 3-1 after their first road win of the season. And finally, one of only 2 remaining perfect teams, FC Barcelona, were caught cold early on by an onslaught from Crvena Zvezda MTS Belgrade. Borisa Simonac's 3-pointer making it 12-6. Barcelona being doubled up in the early stages. A physical, hard-fought game produced more turnovers than assists. The 2 teams combining for 39 turnovers and only 33 helpers. Stratos Pebaroglu with the steal and finish for the Serbian side. Barcelona stepped up heading into the break. Adam Hanger nailing a last-second 3-pointer to make it a 3-point game at the halftime interval. Nikola Mirotic once again led Barcelona on the night, scoring 21 points and grabbing 6 rebounds. Normal service resumed, and it was a put-back jam from the in-form Kyle Kuric, which helped finish off the brave effort from Crvena Zvezda. A 4th win on the bounce for Barcelona, who remain at the top of the standings, perfect so far. Time now for a look at the top 5 plays of last night.
King on the inside to Monroe, doubled by Jerebko. A great pass, but a block. Look at Zaitsev. The long-arm point guard just swats it away. Lucic thought he had a clear path to the basket.
High post to Brian Dunstan. Nice catch by Singleton. Rejected by Tavares. What help defense. Collapsing down from beneath the blocks to swat that shot away. Touché, says Brian Dunstan. Look at this for a sequence. Eddie Tavares extending to slap that one up against the backboard. Campasso went for the drive. Dunstan following him down the lane.
Crvena Zvezda have run out of time in their challenge. And Adam Humga with the finger roll shot. No good! But Kyle Kuric takes out the trash with a tremendous finish. Oh, Kyle Kuric.
So Simone. Brian Dunstan down the lane and crowns Jordan Mickey with a 4-4 one-handed finish. Brian Dunstan rocking the rim with a power jam.
Gist has to come all the way to the 3-point line to get the ball, trying to get it back to Jovic. It's stolen by Bomaro. Pass ahead to Smits! Roland Smits with a thunder dunk! Oh, Roland Smits picks up the pass from Bomaro and puts down the hammer. The Statue of Liberty dunk by the Latvian. Goodness me!
Turkish Airlines. 7 days. Adidas. Spalding. And Enios. Official global sponsors in association with the Turkish Airlines Euroleague.
So it's a 5-point game here at the Mercedes-Benz Arena. Alba Berlin trailing the reigning champions 34-39. Žalgiris Kaunas beating Asvel 70-56 in Lithuania. Back-to-back wins on home court for Žalgiris Kaunas after that terrific win against Real Madrid in round 3. So the CSKA Moscow players notably out early, looking to get familiar with the basket that they'll be shooting on. Get their eyes in, get those sight lines locked into their muscle memory and memory banks. But 12 turnovers in the first half makes grim reading. Let's hear from their coach, Dimitris Atudis.
Okay, coach, so it was a tight first half. What do you need your team to do better in the second to pull away?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
What do you need your team to do better in the second half to pull away?
We are already up, am I right? So we gotta not turn over the ball that much. 12 turnovers is too much.
Thank you, coach. Thank you.
Well, unsurprisingly, Coach Atudis highlighting that turnover statistic. 6 committed in the first quarter, 6 committed in the second. And while ALBA Berlin have been playing aggressive, swarming, marauding defense, some of the turnovers have been indeed soft. Players jumping to pass and just not finding a teammate. The shot zone for CSKA Moscow, 55% from downtown, is a terrific percentage. Solid from the interior as well. 2 players in double digits on the points total for CSKA Moscow. Darren Hilliard, 3 of 4 from downtown. Mike James, 2 of 4 from three-point territory. Joel Balomboy is 1 of 2 from long range as well. Those the marksmen for CSKA Moscow. Well, let's hear from Coach Aito.
Okay, coach, so it was a tight first half. What do you want your team to keep doing in the second?
We must block our rebound because not the big the centers, but all the other players are strong and big. And they go to rebounding offense, and we had problems with this, our rebounding defense. And also we need to put the ball inside more times, because if not, they contest very well our side.
Thank you, coach.
CSKA Moscow dominating the boards in the first half, 26-14 overall, including 7 offensive rebounds. Will Clyburn grabbed 3 offensive boards alone for CSKA Moscow, but again, he collapsed to the court in some distress with 3:45 to go in the second quarter. Here the shot zone for ALBA Berlin. They'll be looking to improve that 3-point percentage, but they played their brand of basketball in the first half. The turnovers that they forced resulting in transition opportunities. My goodness, did they take advantage. So expect more high-octane offense from ALBA Berlin. CSKA Moscow will be looking to limit their effectiveness and crank up their defense in a bid to give themselves some breathing room. Because if ALBA Berlin are in close contention in the type of atmosphere that these fans can create, going to make for pretty interesting basketball in the closing stages if it's close at crunch time. So Coach Aito, Garcia Renes is one of the most experienced sideline callers in the Euroleague. Remember that silver medal at the Olympic Games back in Beijing with the Spanish national team. 2014-2015 Euro Cup Coach of the Year. So much success with Juventud Badalona. On the opposite sideline, we have got the reigning Alexander Gamelski Coach of the Year. Dimitris Atudis winning it for the 2nd time, adding to that accolade that he claimed in the 15-16 season. Both of them rewards for taking Euroleague titles. And of course, Coach Atudis' first Euroleague title coming right here on this very court in the Mercedes-Benz Arena. So the second half underway. CSKA Moscow leading by 5. Led by as many as 6 at 11-17. Down to the short corner, Kyle Hines, who had to take a seat on the bench after getting into foul trouble early in the first quarter with 2 fouls. Landry Noko trying to defend him in the low post. He'll be called for his 2nd. So end-line possession for CSKA Moscow. Kabanov makes himself available, gives it back to the inbounder, Mike James. Screen and roll from Kyle Hines. Hilliard for three, back iron on the shot. Offensive rebound secured by Kyle Hines. Mike James with an eternity to shoot. Off left, in and out. And possession wrapped up by Kenneth Ogba. It is Siva, Ogba, Giffey, Sigma and Noko on the floor for the home team to begin this second half. Giffey looking for Noko. Noko inside against Kyle Hines, gets him in the air. Can't get the shot to go. Rebound wrapped up on the defensive glass by Nikita Kabanov. So James. Oh, beautiful bounce pass to Kyle Hines. Splitting the double team magnificently. What vision, what touch from Mike James. Finished with authority at the rim by Kyle Hines. His first field goal of the game. Peyton Siva for three, off right. Tipped out intelligently by Giffey to Luke Sigma. Another possession for ALBA Berlin. Peyton Siva off the mark once again. So the advantage is 7, the largest lead of the game for CSKA Moscow. Rapid ball movement around the perimeter. Nikita Kabanov off left. Landry Noko with the board. Johannes Vukman couldn't reel it in. So the crowd looking to make their presence felt once again, encouraging ALBA Berlin, who are trailing by 7, their largest deficit of the game so far. Spinning his way into the lane was Luke Sigma. Johannes Vukman defended him effectively. Shot clock in the red. Peyton Siva drives baseline. Hilliard stays in front of him, pulls up from the short corner. The rim shot rebounded by Johannes Vukman. Terrific team defense by CSKA Moscow. Offensive foul is the call, and that's against Kyle Hines. Having picked up 2 fouls in the first quarter, he's assessed his third when trying to set this screen against Peyton Siva. So 2.5 minutes gone in the second half. Landry Noko setting a big screen on Mike James. He spins beneath it. Mills Giffey gets defenders in the air. Landry Noko working on Kyle Hines. Kyle Hines challenges the shot, but that is good defense being bettered by better offense. The first field goal of the second half for ALBA Berlin. Landry Noko continues his strong play down on the block. 8 points in the game for him on 3 of 7 shooting from 2-point territory. Vukman for three, count it. Johannes Vukman from downtown. 37% three-point shooter for his career. He's perfect from the field tonight in his 5-point total. Sigma with a Euro step down the lane, recycles to Niels Giffey, who buries the three. So back-to-back three-pointers from the respective teams. Hilliard. Deflected out of bounds. It will be CSKA Moscow ball from the end line. So Kenneth Ogba taking a seat on the bench. CSKA Moscow leading by 5. Their largest lead has been 8. It was a momentary 8-point lead at 36-44. Kabanov almost had it taken away, but managed to recover. Vukman with a deep three to beat the shot clock buzzer. Back iron on the shot. Niels Giffey makes sure it's one and done as he gets the defensive board for ALBA Berlin. Into the low post. Landry Noko spins baseline. Nikita Kabanov committing the foul. So with Kyle Hines on the bench, we know that he's a perennially undersized center at just 1.98 meters, but he is bull strong down in the low post and incredibly experienced as well. The 2-time Euroleague best defender. He has to sit down because he's got 3 fouls with plenty of time to go in the third quarter. So perhaps an undersized but athletic unit out on the floor for CSKA Moscow. Landry Noko rolls to the bucket, has it taken away by Nikita Kabanov. He's playing point forward, pushes hard, where he's picked up by Sigma. Hilliard, defended by Giffey. Now it's Matisek picking him up. looking to take him baseline. He's used his dribble. He gets it to Voetman, who fires for three. He's short on the shot. And after making his first, Johannes Voetman has missed his subsequent 2 3-pointers, even though his second 3-point attempt was a necessary one to beat the shot clock buzzer. So Sigma orchestrating things from the perimeter. Double team in the corner, and that's going to result in a turnover. Matisek was double teamed by Mike James and Nikita Kabanov, and under that pressure, the 19-year-old looked for Luke Sigma, but his pass was off the mark. So Johannes Thiemann checking into the game for the first time this season. Baseline drive from Mike James, lots of contact, terrific hang time, and what composure to finish via the window. Mike James with the drive and finish, the foul committed, and he absorbed the contact terrifically, and he is hyped at that outcome. Terrific drive and finish by Mike James, takes him to 12 points in the game, the joint high scorer, along with Darren Hilliard, those two the only double-digit scorers in the game so far. So Mike James completes the 3-point play to move to 13 points in the game and give his team an 8-point advantage, equaling their largest lead in the game. Sigma driving from the perimeter. It's out to Matisek. Mike James playing him square on. Thiemann comes to set a screen. He's now rolling to the bucket. It goes back to Sigma, who fakes the three. Gets Voetman in the air, fires the three. Back iron on the shot. Yanis Strelnex with the defensive board. Terrific defensive sequence by CSKA Moscow. Mike James fouled in the corner. Marcus Eriksson committing the foul, and that 3-pointer won't count. Stefan Pano still awaiting his season debut for ALBA Berlin. Remember, he's got Euroleague experience, having suited up for Barcelona in the 16-17 season. So timeout on the floor. CSKA Moscow with an 8-point lead, 39-47 the score.
Ball is over here. Darren, Yanis, Johannes, Joel. I draw only this. The referee is about to give the ball. You're going to use that stagger, and at the same time, when he passes over your shoulder, you're going to go and hit that screen over here, and Joel is going to come and get Yanis. So when we have that entry, if Yanis is alone, what is Yanis? So you will see and evaluate the situation. We got this, okay, that was a pin down. If not, you're gonna hand it off with Mike, and we're gonna lift, and Johannes is going out here having that.
So Coach Atudis drawing up the plays in anticipation of what is likely to be an increased defensive effort by ALBA Berlin as they look to chip away at this 8-point deficit. CSKA Moscow inbounding from the sideline. Hard cut to receive the basketball by Yanis Strelnex. Attempting the bounce pass taken away by Johannes Matisek. Mike James buffeting him every step of the way as Matisek went to the dribble. Turnover number 14 committed by CSKA Moscow. 2 in this third quarter. So Mike James called for his first. Eriksson and Matisek in a 2-man exchange. Mike James being told to attack the ball handler by Coach Atudis from the sideline. And now there's a mismatch in terms of size for Luke Sigma. Taken away by Darren Hilliard. 2-on-2 opportunity, but Luke Sigma comes from behind to poke the ball loose. It will be end-line possession for CSKA Moscow. Darren Hilliard caught unawares. So Hilliard, defended by Giedraitis. He gives it to Mike James. Lots of contact, jumping to pass. Joel Bolomboy for three. The line drive short. Marcus Eriksson with the board, pushing hard for Alba Berlin. What a pick from Yanis Strelnex. Mike James pulling up for three, back iron on the shot off the top of the backboard. Ball still loose. Johannes Voetman comes down with it. Fantastic offensive board. Strelnex for three. Side iron on the shot. Another offensive rebound. 3 bites at the cherry on this trip down the floor. Bodies hitting the hardwood as Joel Bolomboy and Luke Sikma skittle to the court. So terrific success on the offensive boards once again for CSKA Moscow, who now have 10 offensive rebounds in this game. But look at that. That is as clean a pick as you will ever see at this level of basketball. Johannes Strelnex with the velvet hands to ignite a transition opportunity for CSKA Moscow. Nothing came of it, despite getting several offensive rebounds on that one trip down the floor. It's another takeaway. Joel Bolomboy picking up the pieces. Strelnex gives it back to Mike James. Oh, beautiful feed. Johannes Voetman rocks the rim. 7 points in the game for Johannes Voetman, and it is a double-digit advantage now. CSKA Moscow leading Alba Berlin by 10. Alba Berlin with just 5 points on the board in this third quarter, kicked out of bounds by Joel Bolomboy. The shot clock will be reset to 14. So CSKA Moscow doubling up Alba Berlin in what is a low-scoring quarter so far, but Alba Berlin with just 1 2-pointer and a 3-pointer so far in this quarter. Terrific defensive effort as Rokas Giedraitis with the offensive foul received the inbound pass and barreled his way in to Johannes Voetman. Rokas Giedraitis called for the foul. Excuse me, it was Joel Bolomboy who was the first man to be cleared out before Johannes Voetman, before Andrei Vorontsevich joined him on the hardwood. So Mike James with the quickness, splitting the seam and getting all the way to the goal. Mike James pressing the turbo button to move to 15 points in the game. CSKA Moscow extend it to a 12-point advantage. Nice catch on the inside. The foul committed down low against Johannes Tiemann by Yanis Strelnex. Look at that for speed. Fantastic body control from Mike James. That's one way to beat an aggressive defense. Take it right to them. So Johannes Tiemann to the free throw line for the first time in his EuroLeague career. His first season in the EuroLeague, second season with Alba Berlin. 3 seasons of Euro Cup experience under his belt. Gets the range on the second. So the first point in the EuroLeague career of Johannes Tiemann. Still a double-digit deficit being faced by the home team. And the crowd trying to inspire a rally with 2.5 minutes to go in the third quarter. Strelnex being defended by Siva. Siva staying in front of his man terrifically. Offload to Darren Hilliard. He's defended by Rokas Giedraitis. Bolomboy screens, rolls to the bucket. Strelnex goes to the floater. Oh, it turns into an alley-oop! How about that? Joel Bolomboy rescuing what appeared to be a broken play. Terrific alertness, wonderful athleticism. Joel Bolomboy moves to 10 points in the game on perfect shooting from 2-point territory. And then he's instrumental in pocketing that steal. Darren Hilliard was another one of the players present. Fakes the jab step, fires the 3. Joel Bolomboy recycling the offense for CSKA Moscow. He now has it down in the low post. Baseline drive, kick to the corner. Darren Hilliard from downtown. Count it for Darren Hilliard. His 4th 3-pointer of the game takes him to 15 points in the game and puts his team up by 16. Siva Still working the dribble. Vorotsevic helping out on the top of the perimeter. Seaver has picked up his dribble. He offloads. They had to fire that shot to beat the shot clock. Good hustle by Landry Noko. I think he's the last man to touch it, so it will be CSKA Moscow possession. But look at this. Yanis Stronex, is that a pass? I'm sure as a consummate point guard, he'll say it was nothing other than an alley-oop attempt. But Joe Balomboy with the spectacular finish.
Have possibilities to win, a lot of possibilities. I think because we are losing by 15, then now we cannot. We are disappointed and we don't work. We want to work, to play. Hands up, hands open. They score, it's okay. Next time we run, advantage shoot, not advantage, moving the ball. With any one of our movements. Okay, then with faith, let's go for that. Okay, what happened? We play with the champion of Europe. They are beating us, then we don't play because we are not enough good mentally. Play intensity, go.
Well, Coach Aito using that timeout just to inspire and encourage his players. He's saying, listen, we're playing against the reigning champions of Europe. Because they're up by 16, we're going to give in. No, you continue to play the same way that got you to this point. New defenders necessary here at the Mercedes-Benz Arena because the fans are creating the most magnificent atmosphere. But you can see Alba Berlin almost being trebled up here. The fans continuing to play their part. The thunderclaps cascading down from every seat that is occupied as they look to spur their team on a rally in a bid to cut back this 16-point deficit that they face. Hilliard for three. Oh, what a textbook half-court offense. And Darren Hilliard moves to 18 points in the game, approaching his career high of 22. He is shooting with wonderful efficiency. 5 of 8 from downtown for Darren Hilliard. 19 points the advantage for CSKA Moscow. And still the crowd encourage Alba Berlin. Giffey into the lane, step back two, gets the friendliest of shooters rolls. Niels Giffey moves to 11 points in the game. He is the sole double-digit scorer for Alba Berlin. So a negligible difference between the shot clock and the game clock in the final seconds of this third quarter. The third quarter which has been dominated by CSKA Moscow, outscoring Alba Berlin 20 points to 8. Beautiful offload, Karl Heinz with the soft hands. Moves to 5 points in the game. And that just caps what has been an absolutely dominant quarter of basketball by the reigning champions. CSKA Moscow shackling Alba Berlin to just 8 points as a team while they poured 22 on the board. And after 3 quarters of play, it is Alba Berlin 42, CSKA Moscow 61. So the highlights then from the first quarter. CSKA Moscow doing a terrific job of tightening up. In terms of turnovers, they committed just 2 in that third quarter. Karl Heinz receiving the bounce pass from the perimeter and finishing with force. The #1 3-point shooting team in the league. 9 of 24 from downtown. Mike James has produced some terrific finishes on drives to the basket. Coach Atudis appears to be an altogether happier man. Now look at this rescue of a broken play from Joel Balomboy. Soaring up high to retrieve the shot that was short from Yanis Stronex, beating the shot clock buzzer. And Balomboy moving to 10 points in the game. Terrific shooting from both 2 and 3-point territory from CSKA Moscow. They're dominating the boards of those 35 rebounds that they have hauled in. 11 of them have come at the offensive end. They've done a better job tightening up the turnovers. CSKA Moscow distributing the basketball slightly more effectively than Alba Berlin. Alba Berlin, remember, the #1 team in terms of assists in the league. They usually dish 24 assists per night in their high-scoring 93.5 points per game. But they have been well and truly locked down by CSKA Moscow in that third quarter. And if they were to have any hope of winning this game, as we mentioned before the opening tip, then surely they needed to stay true to their philosophy of racing up and down court and racking up the score. But credit to CSKA Moscow, the defending champions, find themselves in a shootout in the first half, but have really put the clamp on the home team in the second half. Giedraitis faking the three, working the jab step, now driving baseline, goes to a step-back shot from the wing. That is a really difficult attempt from Rokas Giedraitis. We have a whistle on the play, which will give ALBA Berlin possession. So ALBA Berlin looking just a little bit disjointed in the face of this mighty defensive effort being put forth by CSKA Moscow. They have themselves another possession here. End line, Peyton Siva with the inbound to Landry Noko. So Giffey, defended by Hackett. Peyton Siva curling up from the baseline, working on Strelnex. Big screen set by Landry Noko, frees up Peyton Siva, and he was pursued by Kyle Hines. So quick fouls assessed against CSKA Moscow. Hackett called for his second. Nice catch on the inside. Johannes Thiemann. Tim Schneider couldn't get the layup attempt to go, but he will go to the free throw line. So Kyle Hines has just been assessed with his fourth foul. So he has to take a seat on the bench. Remember, Will Clyburn leaving the court in the second quarter after seemingly injuring his right knee. He was in some distress and had to be helped off the court by the CSKA Moscow medical staff. Tim Schneider, 3 of 4 from the stripe coming into this game so far this season, gets the shooter's roll on the second. For the first score of this fourth quarter. So it's Hackett being shadowed by Siva. Vorontsevich gives it back to Hackett, who drives baseline, gets the ball out to the corner. Shot got away by Yanis Strelnex, but he couldn't find the range. So Niels Giffey called for his first. It'll be a trip to the free throw line for the man who is number 7 all time in terms of free throw shooting accuracy, Yanis Strelnex. 90.6% success rate from the free throw line for his career. And those, his first free throws of the season, a perfect 2 for 2, makes it a 20-point advantage for CSKA Moscow, their largest lead of the game. Siva working against Strelnex, now Balomboy. Siva uses quickness, gets to the free throw line, offload to Landry Noko, went to cram his own miss, but despite the offensive rebound, he couldn't find the finish. So 20 points the advantage for CSKA Moscow. Remember, ALBA Berlin held to just 8-point scoring in the third. Vorontsevich for 3. Andrei Vorontsevich off the back iron. Landry Noko with the rebound. 7 rebounds in the game for Landry Noko, along with 8 points. Rokas Giedraitis gets the ball to Schneider. Almost taken away by Strelnex, who tried to dance around Tim Schneider to get possession. So Tim Schneider take a seat on the bench, so too Landry Noko. Tyler Kavanaugh checking into the game for ALBA Berlin. Kavanaugh's used his dribble, he needs a receiver here. Finds Luke Sikma. Sikma puts the ball on the floor, he too needs an outlet. has to fire to beat the shot clock buzzer. Terrific D once again. ALBA Berlin not communicating the time and context of the clock on that particular possession. Luke Sigma forced into that Hail Mary in a bid to beat the shot clock buzzer. Aggressive D being played by ALBA Berlin once again. Yanis Stranex brings the ball over half for CSKA. Borant Savic into Joel Balomboy. He goes baseline, goes to the reverse. What an extraordinary finish. Joel Balomboy in the midst of another outstanding game. That takes Balomboy to, well, the basket's been waved off. He stepped out of bounds. I thought for a moment he produced a magnificent finish, which would have taken him to a new career high outright. Rokas Giedraitis from downtown. His first three-pointer of the night. 6 points in the game. He's now 1 of 5 from three-point territory. So here's Rokas Giedraitis with plenty of time to line up that three-pointer. And a prayer momentarily answered for that particular ALBA Berlin fan. So Tyler Kavanagh called for his 4th foul. He and Kyle Hines on 4 fouls apiece for their respective teams. Some CSKA Moscow fans looking to make their presence felt here in the German capital. So face guarding the inbounder is Jonas Matisek. It's Ron Baker, defended by Giedraitis. He's lost his footing. Giedraitis on him in a flash and managed to muscle away that steal. But then Jonas Matisek couldn't control the pass that he received. But that was a terrific takeaway by Rokas Giedraitis. And Giedraitis forcing another turnover. Really using his body to good effect, bumping Ron Baker over the baseline, which sees them give the ball away. 16th turnover of the game. Make that the 17th turnover of the game for CSKA Moscow. Kavanagh goes via the window. You have got to call that surely Tyler Kavanagh. It's no fluke that he made the three-pointer, because he's shooting at 59% from downtown for the season. But when you go via the window from the top of the key, surely you've got to announce it while the ball's in midair. Back-to-back three-point buckets for ALBA Berlin. Reduces the arrears to 14. Concentration absolutely crucial for CSKA Moscow, because of as the reigning champions, they are going to have a target on their back all season long. Almost taken away by Rokas Giedraitis once again. Incredibly energetic defense as he managed to poke that ball out of bounds. Here's another look at it. Well, this is the three from Tyler Kavanagh. A bank shot from the top of the key from three-point territory. Tyler Kavanagh with his first points of the game on that, his first three-point effort. So 3 minutes 20 gone. Off the mark is Andrei Vorontsevich. 0 of 3 from downtown so far. Giedraitis spinning into the lane. Balomboy picks him up. Now it's in the hands of Niels Giffey. Kavanagh in the mid-post. He comes all the way out to the three-point line. Giedraitis inside to Luke Sigma. Dips the shoulder, drives aggressively into the lane. And draws the foul against Daniel Hackett. Hackett called for his 3rd foul. So CSKA Moscow have scored just 2 points this fourth quarter so far, being outscored 7 points to 2. As Luke Sigma goes to the free throw line. Makes the first to move to 8 points in the game. First trip to the stripe for Luke Sigma tonight. The first free throws of his Euroleague career in this his first season in the Euroleague. And rattles home the second Luke Sigma. So Bolomboy has it rubbed out by Tyler Cavanaugh, stays with it, manages to get the ball back to Daniel Hackett. New 14 for CSKA Moscow. And once again, the crowd here at the Mercedes-Benz Arena making the most incredible atmosphere. Beat the shot clock buzzer, and that is a heartbreaker. Giannis Stronek's as cool as you like under pressure from an elapsing shot clock. Makes the advantage 15 once again. Because if ALBA Berlin can get this to even a 10-point deficit, then the roof will be raised on this tremendous amphitheater for basketball. But Giannis Stronek's ensured that it won't happen on the next possession by draining that buzzer-beating three-pointer, celebrated by Darren Hilliard over on the sideline. So Andrei Vorontsevich called for his fourth foul. One of 4 players playing with 4 fouls, along with Jonas Matisek, Tyler Cavanaugh, and Kyle Hines. Timeout on the floor. ALBA Berlin fighting back, winning this fourth quarter so far 9-5, but they are trailing by 15. So the 7 days magic moment is a terrific piece of athleticism and improvisation from Joel Bolomboy. Giannis Stronek's went for the floater, he was falling short, but Joel Bolomboy said, have no fear, because I am here, demonstrating that vertical leap from a standing start and finishing with a reverse jam with 2 hands. Joel Bolomboy with the 7 days magic moment. So Joel Bolomboy equaling his career high, 10 points in the game. It's Luke Sigma to the free throw line. Can't find the range on the first. And he goes 0 for 2 on that trip to the stripe. Luke Sigma now 2 of 4 from the free throw line on the night. And remember, ALBA Berlin, the #1 free throw shooting team in the competition coming into this game. They really need those foul shots because they are down by 15. Jonas Matisek has committed the foul. That sees him check out of the game, having collected his 5th and disqualifying foul. But he gave his team quality minutes. Plenty of energy and intensity. Bagged himself a steal. Got 2 points in the game as well on his lone shot attempt, did Jonas Matisek. His night in terms of on-court contribution comes to an end. So Mike James remains perfect from the free throw line. 16 points in the game. One of 3 double-digit scorers for CSKA Moscow. And it's good to see Mike James finding his groove from the stripe. He's a 79% shooter for his career. Found his stroke last week when he was 7 of 8 from the stripe in his total of 28 points in the round 3 win against Khimki Moscow region. Mike James sees a lane, lots of contact, gets the shot to go. Mike James activating the turbo once again, goes to 19 points in the game. And CSKA Moscow's lead is 19. Peyton Siva pulling up for three, back iron on the shot. Peyton Siva, 1 of 6 from downtown in his 5-point total. Coach Aito calling a timeout, because this game, in all probability, beyond reach now for ALBA Berlin. If you consider that CSKA Moscow, as the reigning champions, will be composed enough to deal with the aggressive D that ALBA will undoubtedly throw at them. But no doubt small targets will be set by Coach Aito, such as winning the next minute, not giving the basketball away. So beyond the midpoint of the final quarter, it is CSKA Moscow in a commanding position, up by 19.
Pick and roll or 14. In 14, you pass here and you have the possibility to receive here. It's possible you screen and you do. Or it's possible you go there, come here, we play pick and roll. If pick and roll or pick and pop or anything. Okay, after that, play brave. We are missing because we are thinking that the score is not good for us. But now, it doesn't matter now. We play like we know. Venga, let's go. Let's go, boys.
Well, in the 4 previous meetings between these two sides, the rivalry that is currently being swept by CSKA Moscow, CSKA has beaten ALBA Berlin by an average margin of 19.5 points. The advantage is currently 19. The last time they played one another was in November of 2014. CSKA thrashed ALBA Berlin 95-66, the largest of the 4 aforementioned wins. So Rokas Giedraitis reduces the arrears to 18. Perfect trip to the stripe for Rokas Giedraitis. 8 points in the game tonight. And then again, the aggressive D forcing a turnover. Rokas Giedraitis, absolutely sensational effort on the defensive end, getting an extra possession for his team. So Milan leading Fenerbahce by 12 in the third quarter in what appears to be a low-scoring game. Luke Sigma, beautiful feed, intricate interior passing. And again, the extra possession reaping dividends for ALBA Berlin. This crowd certainly not giving up on the home team. CSKA Moscow's composure being put to the test. Hassled into another turnover, the 18th of the game, prompting Coach Atudis to call timeout. What was a 19-point advantage at the previous timeout has been whittled down to 15.
They are chasing. We don't need to rush. They are chasing. Wait a little bit. Use the space. Giannis, why? You over here. Come and hit him here. So we're going to get the ball around this area. Wait! I just drew it. Haydi. Giannis will go. Mike over here. Same. Now Giannis, you choose. Word the pass. Hey, leave the card to me now. You coming over here? Hey, ball's clear. Do chest as well. It worked perfect. Do chest as well. Do chest. Darun is the feed of catch.
Well, during the course of that timeout, Coach Atudis stressing composure, saying that ALBA Berlin are down, they are chasing, the clock is not on their side. We take a look at the terrific three-point shooting percentages by CSKA Moscow. So patience will be a virtue for CSKA Moscow here. It is ALBA Berlin who need that difficult combination of stops and scores. Three-pointer fired, but off the mark from Johannes Voetman. Rebound secured by ALBA Berlin. They want points in a hurry. Oh, almost through the gap to Rokas Giedraitis, but CSKA with active hands in the passing lane, able to fashion a steal, forcing a turnover from ALBA Berlin. Bounce pass inside to Joel Balomboy. Luke Sigma will be called for the foul. That'll be his 4th. And but Jonas Matisek has already fouled out for ALBA Berlin. So along with Tyler Kavanagh, who is on the floor for the home team, Luke Sikma joins him on 4 fouls. The 2 players playing with 4 fouls. For CSKA, Andrei Borantsevic and Karl Heinz currently on the bench. So it is a new outright career high for Joel Bolomboy. 11 points in the game, surpassing his previous best of 10. Joel Bolomboy perfect on that trip to the stripe to take him to 12 points in the game. Put his team up by 17. Rokas Giedraitis, Turkey turning the corner on Nikita Kabanov. Unable to flush it through forcefully. Peyton Siva looking to pick off the inbound pass with his quickness. So Kabanov with Peyton Siva sneaking up behind him. And again, this is where a spread floor can really help CSKA Moscow, because the onus is on ALBA Berlin to chase the game. Kabanov clearing defenders out. Now what's the call here? It's an offensive foul. Mason Mackay was outsized considerably by Kabanov. Kabanov looking to use his bulk. Mason standing his ground and drawing the offensive foul against Nikita Kabanov. Peyton Siva for 3, in and out. He remains cold from the perimeter, does Peyton Siva, now 1 of 7 from downtown. So Hilliard with a quick 3 in transition, back iron on the shot, offensive board almost secured, but ultimately it's a defensive board for Rokas Giedraitis. A momentary 2-on-1 opportunity. Peyton Siva can't get it to go, slapped against the backboard by Joel Bolomboy. Offensive board. Offensive foul committed by Luke Sikma. Or excuse me, Tyler Kavanagh with the offensive foul. And whichever one of the forwards that foul is called on, it's going to be a disqualifying foul. So here's Kavanagh catching the ball, goes up strong, takes it right through the teeth of Joel Bolomboy with a strong move down low. And that is going to be the 5th and disqualifying foul on Tyler Kavanagh. He checks out. 3 points in the game, 1 of 1 from 3-point territory, 0 of 4 on 2-point shots in his 11 minutes on court. So Tim Schneider checking back into the game. It's that type of moment for the ALBA Berlin fans, the realization that this game is probably out of reach. 3 minutes to play. The reigning champions up by 17. Time is on their side. It is very much the enemy of ALBA Berlin. Rokas Giedraitis defending James aggressively. He blows by him, kicks to the corner. Hilliard for 3. Darren Hilliard moves to 21 points in the game on 6 of 10 shooting from 3-point territory. Approaching his career high of 22 points from round 1 on his debut for CSKA Moscow. And a friendly shooter's role for Tim Schneider takes him to 6 points in the game. Another 3-pointer from CSKA Moscow. Mike James from downtown moves to 22 points in the game, 3 of 7 from 3-point territory. Mason, back iron on the shot, offensive board by Mackay Mason. So Luke Sikma recycles it to Mason. He pulls up for 3 off the dribble. Long on the shot once again. So now CSKA can pretty much do as they please. They will improve to 4-0. Mike James with the quickness. Mike James with the pull-up. Off the mark, rebounded by Rokas Giedraitis. 6 boards in the night now for Giedraitis. Schneider for 3, and he buries it. Tim Schneider with his second three-pointer of the game, with a new career high for Tim Schneider, surpassing his 8-point output last time out when he was 2 of 5 from downtown. He's 2 of 2 from long range tonight. Reduces the deficit to 16. A little more than a minute to play here at the Mercedes-Benz Arena. So Kyle Hines offloads, rapid ball movement, beating the pressure. Kyle Hines up strong after receiving the inbound, finishing at the rim. So Sikma's used his dribble, backdoor bounce pass, trying to find Rokas Giedraitis, who had cut down the lane. We've got a whistle on the inbound play here. So the foul committed by Semen Antonov. Second foul committed by him, and it sends Tim Schneider to the free throw line. First double-digit game in the nascent stages of the Euroleague career of Tim Schneider. He moves to 10, one of 4 double-digit scorers, and if he makes this free throw, he becomes his team's joint high scorer. So 11 points in the game for Tim Schneider, one of 3 ALBA Berlin players on 11 points, along with Luke Sikma and Niels Gaffay. ALBA Berlin still turning on the press in a bid to secure possession. CSKA Moscow milking the shot clock here in the closing stages. Hackett being defended by Mackay Mason. Hackett backing him down, quick spin baseline. Leaves Mason almost rooted to the hardwood, but he recovered well. And it's a shot clock violation. So good D by ALBA Berlin, but again, given the context of the game and the fact that the clock is on CSKA Moscow's side, not the most costly of turnovers, although the number won't please Coach Atudis. Peyton Siva getting in a tangle of legs on the perimeter with Yanis Strelnieks. Strelnieks called for his second foul, so it will be a trip to the free throw line for Peyton Siva as he looks to add on his 5-point total. Well, the ALBA Berlin fans deserve immense credit. The energetic support hasn't wavered all game long, even when CSKA pulled away in the third quarter. They continue to encourage their team in a bid to provide some inspiration. Peyton Siva makes both to see his team down by 16. Is that another turnover by stepping on the sidelines? Oh my goodness. The turnover stats are going to make grim reading for Coach Atudis. 21 turnovers committed by the reigning champions here tonight. Some of them have been of that nature. Stepping on the sideline, sure there was aggressive D, but Strelnieks with the takeaway races the way down court to take his team to a 16-point advantage. So right until the very end, the ALBA Berlin faithful continuing to support their team in the most vocal fashion. On the inauspicious end on the final possession of the game for ALBA Berlin. One assumes it is, with 2.6 seconds remaining. And so the handshake at half court at the conclusion of this game between the two legendary coaches sees CSKA Moscow extend their perfect record against ALBA Berlin. ALBA Berlin made a real fist of it in the first half, forcing CSKA Moscow into 12 first half turnovers, but a dominant third quarter produced by CSKA Moscow, where they held ALBA Berlin to just 8 points proving the foundation upon which this dominant victory was built. CSKA Moscow improved to 4-0 after defeating ALBA Berlin here at the Mercedes-Benz Arena by 16. Final score, ALBA Berlin 66, CSKA Moscow 82. Well, again, it's nice to see ALBA Berlin acknowledging the supporters here, because they played their part in generating a tremendous atmosphere. But CSKA Moscow's greater experience coming to the fore, particularly in the third quarter, where they locked down ALBA Berlin to just 8 points, while they put 21 to 22 points on the board. Tonight's Adidas player of the game is CSKA Moscow's Mike James, who went off for 22 points to lead all scorers, dished out 5 assists and bagged 2 steals as well. A performance index rating of 23 for Mike James, who was 5 of 8 from 2-point territory as a result of dazzling, daring drives like that, and 3 of 8 from downtown.
Okay, Mike, congratulations on being player of the game. What did you have to do personally well to break through Berlin's defense tonight?
Just be aggressive. I think when I drive, I draw a lot of attention. It gives my teammates open looks, and as long as I make the right decision, everybody looks good.
And how do you rate your team's performance tonight overall? What made the difference in the second half?
That third quarter, we really played defense. We picked it up a little bit better. I think we played defense overall good. I mean, they're a good offensive team, and we held them to 66, I think. So we played a good overall defensive game, and we just kind of locked in more in the third quarter.
Okay, thank you.
So Mike James, tonight's Adidas player of the game, acknowledging that the third quarter was a key component in CSKA Moscow improving to 4-0. But he was ably assisted in the offensive department by several teammates, none more so than Darren Hilliard, who put 21 points on the board, 6 of 10 from downtown.
Okay, congratulations on a hard-fought win. What made the difference in the end?
We just played a full game. You know, they came out in the first half, first 2 quarters, and you know, they really stuck it to us. And you know, we came out after halftime, and you know, said we had to play harder, take care of the ball, and that's what we did. You know, Mike James did a great job at finding us, and you know, it was a big win on the road.
What lessons from tonight's game can you take as a team going forward?
Well, every lesson going forward is good for this team. You know, we're a new team, we're a new bunch of guys, and you know, every lesson that we can get from each game, whether it's VTB, Euroleague, you know, it's a big step for us. And you know, I think the biggest one for today is you know, we got to play a full game. You know, we got to come out and play each quarter like it's our last, and you know, we just got to play a full game, like I said.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, let's hear from Coach Atudis.
Okay, Coach, congratulations on the win. What are your thoughts on how your team performed tonight?
I think it was obvious that we play like with a great character, and we were very concentrated. I have to congratulate my team, my players for the level of concentration, the level of aggressiveness they had, the level of communication, which was eventually it was in a better level on the second half, because on the first half we were not communicating. I think the fact that we were turnovering the ball that much, 21 times, is like it's too much. Of course, ALBA was putting pressure on us, but that's not only that. We were sloppy in the beginning. We turned over the ball too much. Overall, though, we're the first team that keep ALBA that low, because this team, as you said in the pre-game interview, we're facing a team that is ready to score 100 and something. Am I right? Yeah. So I think we did a pretty good job on the defensive end, keeping them on 66 points.
Okay, thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
So in this showdown between the league's leading offenses coming into this game, both of them putting in 91.3 points per game, it is CSKA Moscow who prevailed, locking down ALBA Berlin, holding them to just 66 points. And look at their efficiency from both 2- and 3-point territory. The #1 3-point shooting team in the league, burying a terrific clip tonight. 12 of 32 from downtown. As we take a look at the highlights from what has been a really exciting game, this was the opening score of it. Peyton Seaver finding Luke Sikma high above the rim for the alley-oop. Nikita Kabanov with a sensational jam. Will Clyburn with the baseline cut after Coach Atudis chewed his team out for not being intense enough, aggressive enough, or concentrated enough. He left the game with an injury in the second quarter. Stay across our socials for the latest updates about his injury. Here was tonight's 7 days magic moment. Joel Balomboy bailing out Giannis Strelnex when his floater was falling short. Darren Hilliard with a sensational performance tonight. 21 points in the game, 6 of 10 from downtown, a pair of steals as well. CSKA Moscow improving to 4-0 on the season and receiving the congratulations and commendation from their coach, who was impressed with the character that they demonstrated after dealing with their aggressive defense that they were subjected to, forcing 12 turnovers in their first half. They regrouped magnificently. Look at that edge in rebounds. 41 boards tonight, 12 of them coming on the offensive glass for CSKA Moscow. But as Coach Atudis said during the course of his post-game interview, turning the ball over 21 times is too much. They committed just 2 giveaways in the third quarter before ALBA continued to scratch and claw to force 7 in the fourth. So this is how this result fits in to the round 4 fixtures that have been completed so far. The 5 fixtures took place last night. Žalgiris with a win over Asvel on home court. CSKA Moscow improving to 4-0 on the season. They join FC Barcelona at the top of the standings, and look at the plus-minus difference for those 2 teams, winning their games by big margins. Anadolu Efes Istanbul have now won 3 straight. ALBA Berlin joining Zenit St. Petersburg on 1 and 3. Valencia Basket, the only team in the competition yet to register a win. Well, it's been quite a night here at the Mercedes-Benz Arena in the German capital. The top 2 offenses in the Euroleague went head-to-head, but it's CSKA Moscow, the reigning 8-time Euroleague champions, who came out on top. Thank you for staying with us, and we'll see you again very soon.
Turkish Airlines Euroleague in association with